guys. I thought I'd do a live video, so we'll wait just a second. I want to talk about a quote that I put on earlier today, so bear with me. One of the things, one of the goals that I'm trying to do is to do a live video, and also too, I know some people talked about, well, Damon, where's the rest of the 50 habits of highly effective people? Hey, Douglas, how you doing? I noticed that a lot of them repeated themselves. So when I've done this before, I kind of changed it up a little bit. But I started to not get into it as much, right? Because I saw a lot of the things started to repeat themselves. So just to let you know, a couple of you asked, hey, are you going to go back to the 50 habits of highly effective people and continue that? I appreciate those that have asked because I know then people are paying attention. And I may do that. But I may not right now too. A lot of times what I want to do in my videos is when I'm feeling them a little bit and I don't want to do them because they're forced so much. And a lot of things repeating. So maybe I could knock that 50 down to 30 and I may do that and do an alteration to that. But one of the things that guys that I want to talk about today that I think is important is a statement that I put on there is great things rarely come from comfort zones. Great things rarely come from comfort zones. Damon, how you doing? And I think it's so important that we learn to understand that, because what happens, I think, so much in our life is we work towards becoming, or the desire to be comfortable, And we can talk about that in so many different ways, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today is, great things rarely come from us just being comfortable. It really doesn't work that way. If you look, for example, in business, I'm in the real estate business, and Damien, you're watching this, right? There's uncomfortable things that we may have to do in the day, or that scare us, or that, but it's that discipline. It's getting out of that comfort zone. Hey, Shelly, that's going to give us the results. And it's so true. So often what we do is we try to work our life towards being more comfortable. And what happens a lot of times is when we get comfortable, then we don't feel too good about ourselves. It's the oddest thing, right? And it could just be a simple thing of, it's when we're out doing the things that maybe push us a little bit, that the things that drive us or get us excited, that's where we feel life, and that's where we can move on, and that's where we're progressing. If you look at things, for example, in your relationships, one of the biggest I think things that hurt relationships is when two individuals kind of get comfortable, right? And they don't appreciate, they don't stretch, and they don't maybe have the conversations that are tough that they need to have. They avoid them. And that creates a disconnection in the relationship. Or one person does get comfortable, and completely true, the ironies of life. One person gets comfortable, and that just then they don't maybe do those things that they need to do in the relationships to make the other person feel appreciated or feel loved. So it's this odd battle that I think we have in our lives every single day, is to get out of our comfort zones. And there's that famous quote, or that we've talked about it before, that your life either shrinks or shrinks and expands in direct proportion to the amount of courage that you show in your life every single day, right? Or how much you get out of those comfort zones. That's where those experiences happen. We live in the beautiful state of Colorado, and one of the most times that I'm physically uncomfortable is when we climb 14ers. It just is, right? I mean, it's like, holy smokes, it is so incredibly hard to do that. But in that discomfort, that's where I've experienced some tremendous beauty. I've experienced some tremendous connection with my boy or the people that I'm climbing it with. You get up to the top and you're able to see what you accomplish and what you have done. And there's no way that you would be able to experience that without that discomfort, without pushing yourself, without having to put one foot in front of the other just to get up the mountain. It's so incredibly crazy to experience that. So we really need to understand in our life that great things, the things that we experience, first, we have to go through that discomfort. We have to do it. If there's uncomfortable situations and things that you have to do with your children, right? As parents, there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations that you may have to have. But it's choosing to have those conversations that develops your children and then develops you as a parent, as an individual, right? And then develops that relationship as you as the parent and the child. So when you're older, you may have had to have those uncomfortable conversations. You may have had to step out and have those conversations. That's the furthest thing that you wanted to have, whether it's discipline, whether it's or communicating or educating the choices of your children and what they did or didn't do correctly. A lot of times it's much easier just to let it slide and to let it go and just to continue to sit on the couch and watch SportsCenter, stay on the couch and watch whatever it is or do whatever, or just avoid it altogether. But again, that creates that disconnection, right, from those individuals that you love. And if you were to have those tough conversations in a loving way, great things happen from that. And one of the great things is that relationship, when your kids are older, or that connection, that communication, right there when you're having that conversation with them. So, one of the things, guys, that I can't remember who it was that said that they try to do something every single day that scares them a little or makes them. I think it was one of the first ladies. I can't remember, and maybe you guys watching and be able to tell me who it is. Gosh, who was that? But either way, I think it's so true to try to do something every single day that pushes you, that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because if you do that every single day, you push that, whatever it may be, that's when great things do happen. I think when we get complacent in life and we get too comfortable and we don't push, we don't do the things that we're supposed to do, right, with our body and our relationships. It may feel, for example, real comfortable to sit on the couch and eat chips and just do whatever, right? But nobody feels, as far as I know, unless you have a trick to it, nobody feels too great about that afterwards, right? So mentally you're jacking yourself up, and I don't think great things happen from that. You may, unless you consider getting your midsection a little larger, a great thing. I don't think there's too many positive things that happen from that. Now, I'm not saying there's not a time you don't relax, like this 4th of July weekend, and chill out and just relax and do this or that. But, understand that in order for great things to happen in our life, most of the time it's going to take getting uncomfortable. It's going to take getting uncomfortable. So I would ask you in this conversation is what conversations or what things can you do in the day, or that you need to do in the day, that are uncomfortable but are going to give you the results that you want, or the outcomes that you want. It's important that we ask ourselves those questions, and it's important that we know, and we have a plan, and we know what it is that we're going to do in the day. Because really what makes people happy, I think, there's a few things that make people happy, but part of that is progression, right? Is progression, is moving forward and progressing in your relationships, right? In your marriage, in your parenting, progressing in your health. And I understand when you get older, right? Your body may be deteriorating a little bit, but you can progress in your mind, and you can, fuel it with better things that it may be, progressing in your business. And this is a really, really hard time for people right now, obviously, with everything that's going on in our country. It's hard. It's a challenge, and you may not be able to progress the way that you want to progress in your field, whatever it may be. I know the agents that have, the real estate agents that have stuck consistent in their activities, and communicating to people on a daily basis that didn't, you know, woe is me and just kind of hide and go in their quarantine at home. But the agents that stuck with the communication and stuck with bringing value to people are doing incredibly well right now. I mean, there's some agents in our office that are just crushing it and doing amazing because they stuck with the activities. And you can maybe say they stuck with the uncomfortable activities. You know, I talked about this earlier, is we have to often, what we need to do is get good, get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, if that makes sense. And the more that we do things in our life, guys, the more conversations that we have and the communication with the people that we love, those uncomfortable conversations, we will get more comfortable having them. And that's so important. That's so important that we understand that. You know, if we never do things that are uncomfortable, or we never have the uncomfortable conversations, for example, go back to the 14er, right? I don't think it's ever going to be comfortable climbing a 14er, right? But it gets less uncomfortable the more that I do it and the more that I'm in that situation. You know, there's always going to be hard conversations that you have to have in your marriage. There's always going to be that, or in your relationships. But the more that you avoid them, that causes that disconnection, is no good. But the more that you put yourself in that uncomfortable conversation, they will begin to be a little bit more comfortable. And then out of that, great things hopefully can happen in that marriage. So we just need to be more, the more that we are uncomfortable, the more comfortable it will become with that consistency. So I think that's all I can rap about today. I wanted to go live today. I think that's something that I know that that's something that I want to continue to do, is try to bring more value to individuals, try to help. I mean, when I talk about this stuff, it helps me, right? There's certain things in my work, in my profession, that I don't like doing, that are uncomfortable. But one of the things that I have to understand, and hopefully you understand in those activities, when you get them done, you feel a sense of accomplishment. You feel a sense of growth. You can move on knowing that you did what you needed to do and what you should have done, as opposed to feeling the guilt and that little voice inside that you didn't get it done. Patrick, how are you doing? So just understand that a lot of things that we want to do in our life, we almost hope or wish that they can be accomplished without going through some uncomfortableness or some pain. John Maxwell talks about it, that anything worthwhile is uphill. Anything worthwhile is uphill. Anything that you want to achieve, it's going to take tough work. It's going to take a lot of uncomfortable conversations, a lot of uncomfortable activities that you have to do. It just is what it is. That's how life is. And the more that we can understand that, the more that we can be comfortable being uncomfortable, the more that success is going to happen. So this is also an incredible pep talk to myself, because I need it. I need it. And that's it. So you guys have an amazing 4th of July weekend. Take this time. Understand, guys, that one of the most important things in life are relationships. It's not things. It's not stuff. It's not, quote, success. It's being connected to others. It's a true, authentic communication with others. That's the most important thing in life. And so take this weekend, this 4th of July weekend. Hopefully a lot of you guys are going to be with friends and family. I would encourage you to put the phone down a little bit more. You may even shut it off and look at somebody, look at the people around you, look at the person in front of you. Get curious, ask questions, engage, and really find out and have some amazing conversations this weekend. Lisa, how are you doing? Your boy pitched great this weekend. So anyways, guys, that's it. Relationships, and enjoy them this weekend, and have a great, happy 4th of July.